Ka-chow. Alright, so I'm gonna play some motherfucking Call of Duty. I am also going to listen to the debate. I'm listening to it right now, but the morons at CNN are just going at it. Talking about whatever the fuck, I don't know, I'm trying not to listen. But as soon as they have something good to say, or the debate actually starts, we'll take a listen. Plunder as always. Fuck Battle Royale. Alright,
in the restaurants they work at, in the hotel they work at, where in the airline they work for, in the company that they work for. And they are suddenly going to be looking at, well, what sort of a safety net is there in a situation like this that they have not been in before?
And it's one of the few times, look, we've been beating up on government and our institutions for 3 years. Now they were looking to Congress. What are you going to do if I have to be quarantined for 2 weeks? I don't have, that kind of deal with my employer. Congress acted. It's good to see government work, but this is just the beginning, especially as we see the cases come. There's going to be needs at these hospitals that cannot be met. What is government doing right now to plan for what they know is going to happen?
Yeah. And again, this debate going to be seen by an awful lot of people, 3 questioners, CNN at Univision debate. It's going to be fascinating. We've just never seen anything like
Cooper,
it.
I'm sure it's
It is about that time. The CNN Univision Democratic presidential debate starts now.
Here we go.
Good evening from Washington, D.C., and welcome to this unique event, the CNN Univision Democratic presidential debate with the 2 leading candidates for the Democratic nomination, former Vice President Joe Biden and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Candidates, welcome. It's good to have you. I'm Jake Tapper, along with CNN's Dana Bash and Univision's Ilia Calderon.
We come together tonight at an extraordinary time in our country when people are worried about far more than just presidential politics. We're in a national emergency because of the devastating global pandemic of coronavirus. It has killed nearly 6,000 people around the world and 65 dead and more than 3,300 known cases here in the United States. As a result, tonight's debate will focus heavily on the crisis.
The setting of this debate is also different. To reduce unnecessary risk of transmission of the virus, CNN,
I'm
Univision,
sorry, I was
the
messaging the wrong
Democratic
person,
National
I guess.
Committee,
Are you
and the
aggressive,
campaigns
Goofy, or no?
moved this debate from Phoenix,
No, that's
Arizona
Sean.
to here at CNN studios in Washington
Okay, well, then I
without
messaged the
any
wrong person. I
audience.
can't keep
And all of
anybody
this comes,
straight.
of course, as 4 more states, Florida, Arizona,
Super
Ohio,
poop
and
dick.
Illinois, prepare to vote on Tuesday.
I'm
With Vice
listening to
President
the
Biden
debate.
currently leading Senator Sanders in the race for delegates. Here's what we're going to do tonight. Each of you will
It
have
just
90
started. I haven't
seconds
heard
to
Bernie
answer
say anything yet.
questions and 45 seconds for responses and rebuttals. As much as we can, we hope this will be
You
a
wanna play Apex, or do
conversation
you wanna play
between the 2 of
War
you.
thing?
So let's begin with the
I
most
was
important
about to
issue
play
right
some
now,
Plunder.
the coronavirus and what
Have you
you would
played
do
that
as
yet?
president
I
in
haven't,
the
no.
face of it.
It's the same thing,
Vice
except
President Biden, let me start
you
with
get
you. We're in a
cash out of
reality right now that might have
the
seemed
loot boxes, and you have to bring it to a
unimaginable
drop
a week
point
ago.
and collect
Schools
just a
have been
shit ton
canceled
of
for
it.
more than
And when you
25
die, you
million
just respawn
students.
in 20
Grocery
seconds.
store shelves have been cleared out.
You drop
March
respawn?
Madness, NBA games, Disney
No, you
parks,
don't.
Broadway, small businesses
I mean,
all
you
shut down.
drop
Just
your
today,
loadout,
the
but you
CDC
respawn
issued
with
a
the
new
loadout you want
recommendation
to.
that for
Like,
the
you
next
can
8
pick your
weeks,
loadout.
Events that consist
when
of
you
50
do, like,
people or more
parachute
throughout
in
the
when you
U.S.
respawn?
Yeah,
be canceled
and
or
you can pick your
postponed.
loadout of
What
that,
do you
so.
say to the American people who are confronting this new reality?
First of all, my heart goes
Oh,
out
here
to
goes
those
Joe Biden.
who have already lost someone or those who are suffering
you need
from
to have my battle
the
done
virus. And
Wait, what?
this is bigger than
You
any
need
one
to
of
have
us.
my
This
battle
is
done
calls for a national
Yeah,
rally
mine.
to
Hold on, mine
everybody
is
move together.
thick
And,
nipple.
I laid out in detail what I would
Hashtag
do if were I president today. Go to
1873.
joebiden.com and I laid it out in significant detail. But there are
Thick
3 pieces.
nipple.
First of all, I have to take care of those who in fact are exposed or likely to be exposed to the virus. And that means we
Joe
have to
Biden
do
says
testing,
he
we
has
have
to
get
take
the
care of
testing kits
people.
up and
They have
ready.
to
I would have the
do
World Health
testing kits.
Organization. I'd take advantage of the test kits they have
Duh.
available to us. Even though the president says 1 million or more are coming, let's just get all the tests we can done as quickly as we can. Secondly, I would make sure that every state in the union had at least 10 places where they had drive-through testing arrangements. I would also, at this point, deal with the need to begin to plan for the need for additional hospital beds. We have that capacity in the Department of Defense, as well as with the FEMA, and they can set up 100-bed, 500-bed hospitals in tents quickly. We have to lay all that out, but we have to deal with the economic fallout quickly. And that means making sure the people who, in fact, lose their job, don't get a paycheck, can't pay their mortgage, are able to pay it and pay them now, and do it now. Small businesses be able to borrow interest-free loans. I see my time is up here. You're going to hold us tightly, I assume. But that's what I would do. Go to JoeBiden.com. It lays out precisely what
Joe Biden's plugging his website.
Senator Sanders, this morning, Dr. Anthony Fauci acknowledged that it's possible that hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans, could die from coronavirus in a worst-case scenario. If you were president right
Here we
now,
go. Ba-bang.
what's the most important thing you would do tonight trying to
Bam-o.
save American lives?
First thing we've got to do.
Call of Duty, it's really fucking
Shut this
snooty.
president.
Shitty and
Because he
poopy,
is
and
undermining
then
the
we're
doctors
gonna
and the
die.
scientists who are trying to help the American people. It is unacceptable for him
Plunder.
to be blabbering.
They have a bots mode too, where you just drop into the quarry and you just play against like 20 bots. It's
Second of all,
fun.
what we need to do, and I'm glad that he has called a state of national emergency.
This game is pretty good.
What we have got to do is
Yeah,
move
it-
aggressively.
it's
to make
pretty
sure
super
that
poopy cool.
Every person in this country finally
Let's see what
understands
weapons
that
do
when
I...
they
See,
get
the loadout
sick
keeps telling me I
with
have more weapons,
coronavirus,
but I do not.
that they will
Scroll down.
that all payments will be made, that they don't have to worry
Yeah,
about
there's
coming up with
nothing.
money
No?
for testing. They don't have to
Yeah,
worry about
sometimes,
coming up with money
here
for
we go.
treatment.
Nope.
This is an unprecedented moment
Yeah,
in
it's just
American
big
history.
poopy.
Now, I obviously believe in Medicare for all. I will fight for that as president. But right now, in this emergency,
It's still
I want
technically
every
beta, I
person in
think.
this country to understand that when you get sick, you go to the doctor. When you get sick, if you have the virus, that will be paid for. Do not worry about the costs right now because we're in the middle of a national emergency. Second of all, we have to make sure that our hospitals have the ventilators that they need.
I've been
have
trying to
ICU
use the
units.
725
Right
in an
now, we
LMG
have a lack
to
of medical personnel.
just
And I
fucking shit
worry
on
very
people,
much
and then I've been
that if
using the
there is a
HDR
need,
sniper and
when
an
we have the
MP5 a lot
capability
too.
of dealing with hundreds of thousands
But
of
yeah, you
people
can just set up your
hospitals.
loadouts.
So we need unprecedented
Pretty
action
sweeto.
right now to deal
Yeah,
with the unprecedented
I've
crisis.
been just
And
sticking
bottom
with the
line, from an
M4.
economic point of view, what we have got to say to the American people, if you lose your job, you will be made whole. You're not going
You
to
have
lose
to walk
income.
me through this.
If Trump can put or the Fed can put
Yeah,
$1
so
trillion
I'll just be pinging
into the
places on the
banking
map
system,
that
we
will
can
end up
protect the
going
wages
because
of
there's
every worker in America.
there's
Thank you, Senator
places
Vice
like there'll be
President Biden.
cash
President
drops
Trump
where you can pick up
says
like
he does not take any
$150,000 and shit.
responsibility for the problems with
And those
the
are
coronavirus
frequent throughout the
testing,
map, and then there's
in part
ones
because he says
where
he
you
inherited
get a
so many
bunch of different
rules,
loot because you can still pick up a bunch of really
regulations,
good
and red
guns
tape.
throughout as you
Did
go.
bureaucratic red tape
But our
hamper
goal is to get
this
as much cash as
response?
possible, and you get
No,
that
look, the
from
World Health Organization offered-
going through
offered the testing kits that they have available to give it
loot
to us
boxes
now.
like you would if you
We
were
refused it. We did not want to buy them. We did not want to get them from them.
if you
We
were
wanted to make
looking
sure
for
we had
something
our
in
own. I think he
Warzone.
said something like, "We have the best scientists in America," or something to that effect. The idea that we are not prepared for this and not, and the other thing I want to point out, and I agree with Bernie, we're in a situation where we have to now be providing for the hospitals that are going to be needed now. The present system
Joe
cannot
Biden,
handle
what are you going on
the
about?
surge that is likely to come. So
He's
we
right
should
though. I mean,
already
it's
be
easy facts.
sitting
The
down
hospital
and
cannot
planning
handle what's
where
about
we're
to
going put
happen.
these
Duh.
temporary hospitals. And we can do that. We did that. We've been through this before with the coronavirus. We've been through this before. We've been through this before with dealing with the viruses that the N1H1 virus, as well as what happened in Africa. We provided these hospitals dealing with these great pandemics.
I killed a person.
To go.
I'll
Also,
do it
we have
again.
equipment to protect the first responders, and that's not being done either.
Senator Sanders,
Hello.
on that note, and both of you have addressed this, but obviously another major health concern right now for officials is the surge in patients all at once. overburdening hospitals. The healthcare
I need to
system
get
over
better
there.
with
You mentioned
recoil.
ICU beds, both of you, and ventilators.
I'm
We're
just a
already
big
in the
poopy
middle
with
of
it.
flu season, so already a lot of those beds and ventilators are already being used. If you were president right now, what would you do to make sure every sick American
Like muscling out these popsicles until I can
suffer the
play.
same fate as Italy, where doctors have to suffer right now.
Their soundtrack's incredible.
Oh, it's so good.
Alright, so let me ping a place.
Exposes
We'll go to the motherfucking TV station, and after about a minute, it'll show us where we can deposit our cash. And so the first team of 3 to $1 million, like your first squad to $1 million wins. I have never been in a game where someone got $1 million. The highest I've gotten was like $500,000.
Okay.
what happens if I am sick? It's going to cost thousands of dollars.
Kill the guy.
There's a guy on the roof that's really hurt.
So much money, yet we are not even prepared for this pandemic. How come hospitals in rural areas are shut down?
I found
How
him.
come people
He's dead.
prescription drugs they need because we have a bunch of crooks who are running the pharmaceutical industry, ripping us off every single day. I'll tell you something
Who
right
knew
now.
me, the
In
guy
midst
who
of this
just
epidemic,
fucking runs around and sprays his fucking gun in every goddamn direction, would use an LMG the most in Call of Duty. What a shocker.
I've been dumpstered by an LMG so many
People of
times.
America, do not worry about the cost of prescription drugs. Do not worry about
I
the
have a
cost of the
sniper.
health care that you're going to get, because we are a nation, a civilized, democratic society.
Yeah, and see, then here's a AK-47.
The drug companies
Just,
Oh,
you can
yeah.
just pick up some nice ones
Senator,
lying
Vice
around and
President
test out
Biden,
some new
medical
guns.
experts are saying the
But if you
only
die, what will
way to
happen is you'll
control this
respawn
virus
20
is through a
seconds
national
later in the air in the general
requiring
area of
every
your
American
teammates.
other
If your
than
whole team
essential
dies,
personnel to
there's a
stay
chance
home.
you'll respawn in the
Would
same
you take
place,
that
or they'll just put you in a
unprecedented
completely
step of
different
a
part of the
national
map.
lockdown?
What
Okay.
I would do is
This is
Yeah.
kind of similar to how the Battle Royale works.
I would
Yeah,
call
it's
meeting the situation
I've really enjoyed it just
of
because
all
it's a
the
lot
experts in
lower
America
stakes. I
dealing with
again
Yeah.
just don't like Battle Royale.
I would sit them down and I
I
would
feel
do
that.
exactly what we did then.
Here, fuck our other
What
teammate.
is it that we need? Listen to the experts.
Let's see, where do we gotta go? Can I hit him?
You have a single payer system in Italy. It doesn't work there.
Here,
There's nothing you can do with
we'll go
Medicaid
wherever the
reform
fuck that is.
That will not solve the
Fuck
problem.
you, teammate.
We can take care of that right now by making sure that no one has to pay for treatment, period.
The one thing I don't like about this is how you oh, I'm dead. Is how you can steal kills from people if you hit their downed
Period. That is a national
their downed
emergency,
hits,
and
you
that's how
know,
it's handled. It
that's
is
big
not
poopy.
working in Italy right now, and they have a
He's
single
got a
payer
heal.
system.
I heard him a lot.
To what else I
Okay.
would do. The fact is that
Alright,
we're in a
we
gotta
position
go.
where I would bring
He was up
together
that
the
way.
leading experts in the world. Instead of doing this in the United States, instead of doing this piecemeal, sit down and do what we did before with the Ebola crisis. What is needed, and have one voice.
Joe Biden is trying to make it sound like he and Obama changed the goddamn world with everything that they did.
So we lay out overall
Yeah,
all the
he's
nations
gonna
what
ride
the
that
best
all night
proposal
long.
is and how to
Yeah.
move forward. In the absence of that, governors are making some sound decisions. They're doing the best
I wonder if they
can by
gave him
going
some
out,
uppers
getting the
because
healthcare
he's talking
experts
not only
and
fluently, but
experts
he's
their
got
states
some
move.
like
But it should be
energy.
directed from the White House,
Gave him like
from the
a half an
situation,
Adderall.
laying out in detail like we did
Probably.
in the Ebola crisis, and we beat
Because
it.
I'd believe Joe Biden is straight edge.
Well, first of all,
Yeah.
the dysfunctionality
I
of the
can't
current
believe
healthcare system
he isn't.
is obviously
Huh?
apparent.
I can't
As
believe
I
that
said
he
earlier,
isn't.
there are people who hesitate, go to the doctor. You're going to have a maze of
If he isn't, then
regulations.
he's really good at
This is
hiding
my
it.
income, but that's my income. Can I get it? Can I
Bernie
not
doesn't
get it?
have time to smoke
Really, we are
because
not
Yeah,
getting
no.
Trump only
he's too busy.
exacerbates the crisis.
He ain't got time to do
When we
nothing.
spend twice as much per capita
But
on healthcare as
he
any other
did.
nation, one might expect that we would have enough doctors. all
Do we
over
know
this
he did?
country. One might expect that we would have prescription
That's a good
drugs.
point.
One
I
might
actually don't
expect
know,
that we are prepared
but
for the
he's
next
cool with
area
it, so that's good in my book.
that we were
Yeah, I
ready
was gonna
with
say, I know
the
he's definitely
with the
cool with it, so
ICU,
that's-
with the
that's-
test kits that we need. We are not. And bottom line here, in terms of
Da-dum, da-dum.
Medicare for all,
Oh
despite
my
what the Vice
God.
President is saying, what the experts tell
Can't
us is
hang
that
over there.
one of the
There's
reasons
an enemy
that we are unprepared
that way.
and have been
Da-dum, dum,
unprepared
dum, da-dum,
is
dum,
we
dum.
don't have a system. We got thousands of private insurance plans. That is not a system that is prepared to provide health care to all people. In a good year, without the epidemic, we're losing up to 60,000 people who die every year because they don't get to a doctor on time. And clearly this crisis is only making a bad situation worse.
That has nothing to do when you're in a national crisis. The national crisis says we're responding. It's all free. You don't have to pay for a thing. That has nothing to do with whether or not you have an insurance policy. This is a crisis. We're at war with the virus. We're at war with the virus. It has nothing to do with co-pays or anything. We just passed a law saying that
All right,
we
well,
do not
let's
have to
see.
pay for
Where do we
any
wanna
of
go?
this, period.
That's
So,
not true.
give me a
As a
shotgun
matter
ammo.
of fact, that's not true. The law has enormous loopholes. I understand that Nancy Pelosi did her best. Republicans
Yes.
prevented it.
No,
What you're
have some.
talking about, Joe, here is enormous loopholes
Thank you.
within that in fact, it is not necessarily
Thanks.
covering treatment for all people in America, and that people are going to be stuck with a bill unless we change that. And we're going to offer legislation to, in fact, change that.
If I may, I offered legislation.
All right,
I
so
laid
we
out
gotta
in my
go,
plan that it would cover exactly what is not covered
I
by the
have
House.
a lot of money.
I laid out in the
Yeah,
plan
we
what
gotta
I
go
laid
to one
out
of these
for
piggy
how we
bank
would
things,
deal
but
with
they're always
this
so far away.
Anything having to do
He's
with
really hurt.
this is a national emergency. There isn't a question of whether or not this is something that can be covered by insurance or anything else. We, out of the Treasury,
I
are
have
going
no
to pay
armor.
for this. It's a national emergency.
But
I got him. I don't know if there's more.
Is he down?
Yeah.
Trump.
terrible tragedy, massive anxiety. The
Yeah,
White
people
House
don't stick
divided
together well in this game. You can also pick up a self-revive kit, so even if you're alone and you get revived, you can...
But you know what?
Well, that didn't work.
Last year, at least 30 people died in America because they didn't get health care when they should have, because we don't have universal coverage. I think that's a crisis. One
They're
out of
very
5
close to
people in
me.
America cannot afford the prescription drugs
So
they
they're
need.
coming
Shot me in the face.
I can't hit a fucking thing.
And then it tells you how much money you lost. So we've got together $72,000. We gotta go bank all of it.
I have 120 grand.
Some of which is funding the vice president's
Oh, you
campaign.
do?
We have
120?
plans
Oh,
to
yeah, that's
take
right.
on
Damn.
the executives
Unless
of the
when I
prescription
respond.
drug industry.
I don't know. We'll see. But the place that I pinned is where we have to go. Let's see. Let me pin another one.
Oh yeah, I lose. Yeah.
Right here.
I've laid out a plan.
Alright, I'm going.
Building on Obamacare, providing a public option for Medicare. Say this idea that this is his only answer is a mistake. But regardless of whether my plan is in place, this is
those
a crisis.
routed.
This is like we are being attacked from abroad. This is something that is of great consequence. This is like a war. And in a war, you do whatever is needed to be done to take care of
So you gotta get to that bag. Someone already called it. And that works out.
everything that you need
Dead.
is free. It is paid for by the taxpayers generally. It has nothing to do with Bernie's Medicare for all. And by the way,
Vice President Biden, thank you. If I may, the Vice President just mentioned war. Would you deploy the U.S. military in an effort to contain the virus, and if so, how?
Well, I think we use all of the tools.
No, it left before I could deposit my shit.
And using the National Guard, which is folks.
I think the
New
guy
York
went
State
up.
already using the National Guard. That is something that has to be done.
We called in the helicopter again, so now we wait for it to come in and then we deposit our cash when it gets here.
And what I worry about
Oh.
is not only how we
Oh no.
respond
Ow.
to the virus, but also how we respond aggressively
I don't know where he
to the
is.
economic
Oh, man.
fallout of a global recession.
He backed
So
off,
right
I
now,
think.
in Illinois and Ohio, if my memory is correct,
I'm going. There he is. Got him. He's down. Got another guy. And deposited my cash. Oh my god, someone flew in. Hey, I downed 2 people.
You know what?
I lost $62,000, I guess.
Senator,
Sucking out.
Senator, we're going to talk about
Yeah, we deposited quite a bit of money though.
Answer is I would pull out the numbers. Now, they have the capacity to provide the surge of help that hospitals need.
All right, I'll come to you.
and needed across the nation. I would make sure that they did exactly.
Man,
what
Joe Biden is talking a lot.
They've done it. They did it in the Ebola crisis. They've done it. They have the capacity to build 500-bed hospitals and are intense that are completely safe and secure.
No.
Oh no, no.
Damn it, he got me too.
Call out the military.
That's the one thing about LMGs, they don't switch fast enough.
Yeah, they switch so slow.
Oh, I was hit by the guy that came down from the roof. Okay.
So we got a lot of people in this country. He's gonna get these. You got schools all over this country now. How are we gonna make sure that the kids do well in this crisis, not become traumatized? What do we do about the parents now? Who stay home because they can't go to work? So I think that includes people who are in prison like that. People who are in homeless shelters. What about
Ah, we got fucked up again.
now in 2000?
I need to get the slug shot for the 725 because I always hit, but it's never enough.
people on top, they bailed out.
If I had the slug, it would go through their fucking faces.
This time around, let us know
Leave behind a dangling tongue on a neck.
the working
Thank you,
families in this
Senator.
country
We
and
have,
for the most
we have
vulnerable.
learned that lesson. And again, I lay out in detail. What we should be doing now is we should be surging help to those places which are the most.
Oh,
We should have every
Shit.
single person that's in the
Shut
nursing home
boopy,
being
shut
able to be
boopy,
tested.
shut
We should be
boopy.
moving
Did he die?
forces in to do that.
We
We
got-
should move in the
Yeah, I got
capability
pretty
to do
fucked.
that. We should be sitting down the
Alright,
president.
where
should be
should we
sitting down
go?
the situation room right now. Do what we did
Hey, there's a
before,
cash
and
thing
asking
back
the
here.
question,
Let's go get it.
Okay, we're gonna close everything. Close everything. How do you get prescriptions that have to be filled? How do you make sure when you close that
Prolapsed
school, those
anus.
children are going to be able to get the school food program? How do you make sure that you're going to be able to see to it that you get your mortgage paid? I propose that all of that be covered, and it's going to take a multi-billion-dollar program to do that. But
God,
the
I'm
first
so
things
far away
first.
from
The
you
first
guys.
thing is to take care of the immediate
I'll have to find a
needs we have
vehicle.
now relating to surging the kind of capability we have to prevent this great.
Oh, this guy got
of
up.
this-
Oh,
how
gotta
it's
return to
gonna cause
combat
such
area. I
pain,
almost
as
got
well as
murdered by
moving
the
in
map
direction of
gods.
Making sure we have long-term plans.
Thank you, Mr.
to
Vice
make sure
President.
it's
We're going to
taken
talk in a moment a lot more about the economic
Oh my
impact.
God, there's
First,
someone over
Senator
here.
Sanders, you asked about China. The government there censored the
Oh,
whistleblower
no.
doctor who sounded
I
the
am
alarm
low
and downplayed
ammo.
the gravity of the virus.
What have I
What
done?
consequences should China face for its role in the
I'm on my way.
Well, one of the consequences is we have got to learn that you cannot lie to the American people.
I got my gun back.
You
I'm good.
cannot be less than frank about the nature of the
I hear a
crisis.
chest. We can get it.
And what bothers me very much is you have a president of the United States today, Mr. Trump, who is
I
praising
just found a
China
legendary
for
LMG
the
called
good
the
work that
Fire
they
Hose.
are doing, when in fact, as
Noise.
you indicated,
This
they
sounds
rely on their
dangerous.
own people and allowing that virus to move
Yeah,
much more aggressively
you can
than
pick
should have
up,
been the
like,
case. Look, don't
I guess
think
blueprints.
now is
and,
the time, by the way, to be
The blueprints like make it so it's possible that they'll spawn in
you know, we have got to work with them. We got to work with the world.
or they'll
Health
spawn in
Organization.
chests
We gotta work
sometimes,
with
and so
Italy.
I
We
have a
gotta work
few.
with countries around the world. If there was
And then
ever
you
a
also can
moment
get ones that you
when the
can
entire
like make a
world is
pre-made
in this
gun for
together,
your
gotta support
loadouts with
each
like a
other.
custom
This
skin and
is
custom
that-
sights and shit like
That's why,
that.
if I may respond.
Yeah.
Pretty
That's
cool
why I
too.
insisted the moment this broke out that we should insist on having our experts in China.
I'm picking
in
anything up
China
in my
to see what was
heartbeat, so I
happening.
think we're alright.
Make it clear to China there'd be consequences if we did not have that access.
Yo.
And we have to lead
I
the
heard a
world.
door.
We should be the ones doing what we did during the Ebola crisis, bringing the whole world together and saying this is what we must do. We have to have a common plan. All nations are affected the same way by this virus, depending on the exposure. And so this is why we need world leadership. We need international leadership. We need someone who knows how to bring the world together and insist on fundamental change in the way in which we're approaching this.
Senator Sanders?
Well,
Your chest.
the bottom line here
Big
is that
doinks.
in the midst of this crisis, we have got to act in an unprecedented way. And that
Big
means
doinkus.
every country on earth is going to be affected. Every country on earth has got to work together. It also means that we tell the pharmaceutical industry, we tell the big money interests that this is not a time for profiteering. This is a time for all of us working together. The World Health Organization is a very, very strong organization. It is sad that we have a president that has ignored the international community in so many ways, including in terms of international health crisis.
Thank you,
There's a
Senator
chest
Sanders.
up here.
Obviously, another part of this story is the economy, which is reeling from this
Jeez.
pandemic. Many economists are
damned if I'm
warning
not gonna
of
get
a
that money.
recession. Just hours ago, the Federal Reserve cut interest rates to near 0%, which has not happened since the financial crisis of 2008. Vice President Biden, what would you do?
What I would do is make it clear to the world and make it clear to the United States that we are going to have a major, major, major bailout package. We do not reward corporations. We reward individuals who, in fact, are really put to the test here. The problem is the policies of this administration economically.
Joe Biden just
have
said
eaten a lot of
that
our seed
he
corn.
proposes a
The
bailout that will
ability
not
for
go to
us
the
use the levers that were
corporations, but will
available
go
before
that to
has
people
been
that
used
have
up by
been
this
to the
god-awful
test
tax
tube.
code of $1.9
That's what he
trillion
said.
by the fact that we have
Test
used
tube.
Been
Fed
through
will
the
be of
test
little
tube.
consequence. Now,
There is
they've
somebody
already-
over
they've already
that
used what
way.
leverage
I see
they have.
movement.
And
I
so
see
we're gonna have
movement.
to just level with the American people. And here's the deal.
That's
We're going to have to
sick.
not only deal with the immediate
Be that
crisis,
fucking
economic
booty
crisis,
hole.
which is the most critical
Hey,
now,
there's money
to
over
let
there.
people know
Anyone who's
their
about to
mortgages
cash?
are going to be paid, their rents are going to be paid, they're going to have child care, they're going to make sure that all their medical bills are cared for relating to this, etc. We have to go beyond that. And we're going to have to be in a situation where we're meeting on a daily basis, like we did in the middle of a financial crisis, to decide how we are going to find the wherewithal and the money to be able to see to it we hold all these folks harmless, and not do
Hear
what Trump wants to do.
explosions.
For example, he came along and said, "I got a great
Lots
idea.
of
Let's
explosions. A dead cow, no.
Senator Sanders.
Oh my god.
The Ebola crisis, in my view, exposes the dysfunctionality of our
Over
healthcare
here.
system
Anyone who's about to cash?
and how poorly prepared we
I'll
are
take
despite how much money that we spend. And the Ebola crisis is
I'm hearing a lot
also,
of bullets.
I think, exposing the cruelty and the unjustness of our economy today. We have more income and wealth inequality in America today than any time in 100 years. And what that means that in the midst of this crisis, if you're a multimillionaire,
I got 'em.
no one's happy about this crisis. You're going to get through it.
Nice.
You're going to get everything you need. You're not worried about health care. You're not worried about income coming in. Half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. We got people who are struggling, working 2 or 3 jobs to put food on the table. What is going to happen to them? So the lesson to be learned is we have got to move aggressively right now to address the economic crisis as a result of Ebola. He's talking about Ebola. You got Ebola in my head here right now. As a result of the virus here, the coronavirus. What we have got to do also
There's a
is
helicopter
understand the
flying
fragility
over
of
me.
the economy and how unjust
I have an
and
LMG for
unfair
that.
it is that so few have so much and so many have so little.
Someone
People
took
are
the
looking for
cash.
results, not a revolution. They want to deal with the results they need right now. And we can do that by making sure that we make everybody voter who has
Oh god, I got ran over by a car.
I know, I've gotten run over so many times.
children in terms of the healthcare
I
costs
lost
that they have related to this crisis. We can make
No.
them whole. Now, and put in process.
about how much a car
system
crash would cost
whereby
me
they
now.
all are made. That has nothing to do with the legitimate concern about income equality in America. That's real. That's real. But that does not affect the need for us to act swiftly and very thoroughly.
There's a giant
in concert
truck.
with all the forces that we need to bring to bear to deal with the crisis now. So no
On the
one's
way.
going out there. No one is
I don't know where I'm
no
going.
one loses their paycheck. No one
Here.
is significant financial disability as a consequence of this particular crisis.
Thank you, Vice President. Senator Sanders.
I think it goes without but it is not good enough to understanding how we got here and where we want to go into the future. So how does it happen that today, in the wealthiest country,
Oh, I got
are
hit.
scared to death?
Back it up, back it up. Oh, I'm dead. My fucking Gucci shot a million times.
is going to end. And we are going to have to develop an economy in which half of our people are not living and struggling to put food on the table.
I don't disagree with that. You were asking about the crisis. What are we going to do about the crisis now, which is incredibly consequential to millions and millions of Americans? And it's not going to be solved by a change in tax policy now. It's not going to be solved by a change in how we deal with health care. It's got to be solved with an emergency need right now. Right now.
That's where
What
usually
can we do?
the banks are
First
where
thing
all
we
the
do is
action
make
is,
sure
so
that healthcare is
It's always
available
head that
by us.
way.
We have the tools to be able to deal with it, and that
Shaboing.
requires us to go out and do much more
Kill
than we've
confirmed.
done in terms of planning. Secondly, it requires
I guess
us
I
to be in a
downed somebody
position
and
where
no
we're
one was there to take
anticipating
care of
what will
them.
happen in the next month
Good.
or weeks in terms of the flow into the healthcare system by bringing the military along, more hospital beds, more training, more equipment, more capabilities to
Goodbye.
first responders as well. In addition to that, we then have to also look at what are the immediate.
Now that is ingenuity.
How would that person be laid off today?
This is awesome. I'm glad that they made the physics so you can stand on top of shit like this. There's just like, hell, you're a Marine, you can do anything. Should get a sniper on this.
Thank you, Vice President. Senator Sanders, you voted against bailouts for
Oh, I'm getting hit from the side.
Would you support bailouts for businesses that are being
Ah, fuck.
affected by the
My
coronavirus
shotgun did nothing.
now?
And I
I
missed.
did. You're quite right. The bailout.
Thank you.
Because I believe that the illegal behavior being done by the people on Wall Street should not be rewarded by a bailout. And today, by the way, those banks are more prosperous and own more assets than they did back then. They're bigger now than they were then.
Enemy dropping
I thought
in,
at
they're
the
probably
time
coming back.
That in the midst of
Yeah, they're
massive
mad.
income and wealth inequality, the people on top, through a surtax on the very wealthy, should bail out. And it's not just the TARP bailout. We gave trillions of dollars in zero-interest loans to large banks. But to answer your question, where we are right now, we need to stabilize the economy. But we can't repeat what we did in 2008. You voted for that. I voted against it. Because we have got to do more than save the banks or the oil companies. Our job right now is to tell every working person in this country, no matter what your income is, you are not going to suffer as a result of this crisis, of which you had no control.
Vice President Biden.
Had those banks all gone under, all those people Bernie says he cares
Grenade
about would be
launcher?
in deep trouble. Deep,
Wow.
deep trouble. All those little folks
Don't mind if I
would
do.
have gone out of business. They'd find themselves in a position where they would lose everything that they had in that bank, whether it was $10 or $300 or a savings account.
Alright, I've
This
got
was
money I
about
gotta
saving an
deposit,
economy.
so let's get
Yeah,
over
me
this.
too. I have almost 100 grand.
And the banks paid back. And they
Go to
paid back
bank if you
big.
need it.
I agree with Bernie. Some of them should have gone to jail. That was the big disagreement I had in terms of bailing out. The question was,
Let's go up to the
they
top and
paid
jump
back.
off.
In addition to that, it also part of that
Oh
was
boy, I'm getting shot at.
thousands of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs over time. That as well.
Did not recognize that bailout money was used later on by Bush to prevent the deal. But here's the point. Here's the point. Is that in terms of that,
Oh my god, I downed this guy with a sniper with a PP Bison. Bitch.
who have prospered off of the illegal behavior of individuals, in this case,
I'm really good at this game when I remember to tap fire, but if I try to use recoil, I'm an idiot and I die.
You have your friends pay for it, not
I
what
feel
you do.
that.
The other point is Joe should know.
If I think too hard, it
Just
never
the
goes
700
well.
million TARP
Yeah.
program.
That's
the
true,
Fed
so.
gave trillions and trillions of dollars in zero interest loans to every financial institution in this country. All over the world.
Out here.
He's down.
Because they then could sell that, they could then bring in interest rates much greater than the zero interest loans that they have.
Vice President Biden.
All cash you buy.
Look,
Hostile attack dog carrying cash.
Alright, I
Dude, I
got
have
some.
way too much money.
Yeah, dude, you do. We gotta get to this bank.
Bernie's saying that I guess he's going to do a wealth tax.
Oh no, there's somebody dropping right there.
Yeah, so
They should pay for everything that's there. We were talking about
The music. Is your music going off like crazy?
I have mine turned down, but yeah, I hear it moving.
Makes it sound like the zombie apocalypse is starting.
Recovery Act, which I was the one
Yeah, it sounds like a nuke's about to hit the city.
$900 billion in it.
Where are they?
Behind this man.
Vice President Biden. I'm
Out
gonna say
behind us.
7 million undocumented
Got him.
Self-reviving.
illegal in the United States are underage. How can you ensure they feel safe enough to get the pain? You're fine. To help stop the spread of coronavirus?
Oh, I hear somebody getting hurt behind me.
Tested for coronavirus or gets
Armoring up.
coronavirus and is treated would be held harmless. Just like I've argued all along.
Yeah, I'm doing that
any
too.
woman who crosses the border or is here and being
Dude, we
beaten
need
by
to
her
get to this
husband,
bank.
I know, holy crap,
she
we're pushing
cannot
it.
be deported because she
Oh
was
no.
There are
I'm making a
certain
move at the bank.
and
Teammates,
cannot
yeah,
deport
teammate just died.
They only enforce.
I downed him. Oh no, he's got a teammate. Damn it, I'm down. Crap, he got me.
It's even American.
Watch out back where we were.
That may come forward because it deals with keeping the spread from moving more rapidly. They will not, should not, under any circumstances, be held accountable and be deported for that purpose. Period.
Alright, I'm coming.
Drop.
Medicare for all that I introduced.
Oh yeah, I got that all in there. Doesn't matter, I deposited it all.
Right now, we have the absurd situation where undocumented people who try to do the right thing, they're sick, they want to go to the doctor, they don't want to spread this disease.
No. I got it too, yes.
Deported.
Fuck you guys.
Things that we do to make sure that everybody gets
Ah, they were everywhere.
general.
Yeah, they were on that.
I need to get a grape soda.
Second, in terrible ice raids with the terrorizing the time is long overdue for this country to move to comprehensive immigration reform and a path toward citizenship for those 11 million undocumented. And furthermore, on day one as president, I would restore the legal status of the 1.8
Senator, thank you. We're going to talk about immigration in a minute, but first I want to ask about something that's going on right now. Again, back to this crisis. We know that people over the age of 60 and those with underlying medical conditions, especially heart disease, lung disease, and diabetes, are the most vulnerable to coronavirus. They're being asked to change their behavior techniques. So Senator Sanders, let's start
I'm
with you.
pooping.
78 years old. You had a heart attack. What are you doing to protect yourself?
Well, a great deal. Last night I had a fireside chat, not a rally. I love doing rallies, and we bring many thousands of people out to our rallies. I enjoy it very much. We're not doing that right now. In fact, our entire staff is working from home. So on a personal
Wizard
level, what we're doing
Banzai.
is, I'm not shaking hands. Joe and I did not shake hands. And I am very careful
We did
about
pretty good.
the people I am interacting
I
with.
like that game mode.
I'm using
Yeah,
a
that's
lot
fun.
of soap and hand sanitizers to make sure that I don't get the
Got a lot of
And I
XP.
have to say, you know, thank
Yeah,
God.
let
right
me
now,
see
I don't
what
have any,
loadouts I got
symptoms,
going
and I feel very
here.
grateful.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm gonna
Vice
switch
President
up.
Biden,
This is
you're
a good way to
77.
level up your
What are you
weapons so
doing?
you can get good loadouts.
Right, yeah,
Fortunately,
it's really
I
fun.
don't have any of the underlying conditions you
Let's
talk
see.
about that I have to worry about. Number one. Number two, thank God, for the time being, anything can happen, as my mother would say, knock on wood, that I'm in good health. Number three, I'm taking all the precautions anyone would take, whether they're 30 years old or 60 years old or 80 years old. And that is, I want to make sure that I do not shake hands any longer. I do not engage. We did the same thing.
When
Our
do you
staff
get
is all
the
working
slug
from home.
option for the
We're not doing
725?
rallies any longer. We're doing virtual
I
rallies.
don't know.
We're doing virtual town hall meetings. We're in a situation
Those things are
right
like
now,
sniper shots.
I do not, as I said, when we
They are,
encounter
yeah.
people,
That's
we're not
a
going into
really
crowds.
good weapon.
And so I'm
I
taking
enjoy
all the
using the
precautions
double
everyone
barrel
else
already.
should be taking. I wash my hands God knows how many times a day with hot water and soap. I carry with me, as a matter of fact, I have in my bag outside here, a hand sanitizer. I
Joe
don't know how
Biden's
many
talking
times a
about
day
his
I
hand
do that.
sanitizer in
I
his
make
purse.
sure I don't touch my face, and so on. So I'm taking all the
it's an
precautions we're told
embarrassment.
everybody else can take.
Let's turn to the race more broadly now. Throughout this campaign, you've each laid out starkly different visions for how to bring about change. Vice President Biden, Senator Sanders is calling for a political revolution.
Oh my god, I died when I hit the
Case for
ground.
why a revolution
So did I.
is not what the country needs or wants.
Your problem is to solve now. Now, what's the revolution going to do? Disrupt everything in the meantime? Look, Bernie talks about, Senator talks about here's Medicare for all.
Is that teammate? What's going on there? I couldn't hit him.
He hasn't told you how, in fact, there's any possibility that happens. He hasn't told you how much it's going to cost. He hasn't told you how it's going to take 4 years even after it passes. You want a revolution?
Can't wait for the new Cosmos season.
Pass the Biden upgrade.
New what?
Cosmos season.
Oh.
Provide for lower drug prices. Make sure that there's no hidden bills. Make sure that we invest. I want to invest $50 billion in dealing with underlying diseases that are of great consequence.
Let's
Diabetes,
go.
Alzheimer's, and cancer. Make sure that we have a
Okay,
Medicare
yeah.
option that's in a public
Let's go.
option.
Woo!
Medicare.
Follow Fender and then shove your bucket shotgun up his cock.
That would be a fundamental change that happens now. I can tell you from experience, being a significant consumer of healthcare with my sons, my family. What people want is hope,
What?
and they need
How
it
did they hit me? Hey, someone got broken loose.
Talk about $30+ trillion.
Very rarely done in the
All right, well,
Let's do something that the media doesn't do. Let's talk about the reality of American life. Why is it that over the last 45 years, despite the huge increase in productivity and technology, the average worker today is not making a nickel more in real dollars? Why is it that over
Yo,
the
I'm
last
coming to
30
shit.
years, the richest 1% have seen a $21 trillion increase in their wealth, about half of
bum 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 bum.
Why is it
I'm
that we are the
flying
only major
in,
country
ready
not
to
guarantee
die.
healthcare to all people is a human right? Why are we the only major country not to have paid medical and family leave? Why do we give tax breaks to billionaires when 500,000 people are homeless today? And it comes down to something, Jake, we don't talk about. The power structure in America. Who has the power? And I'll tell you what the power is. It's the people who contribute money. The billionaires who contribute money to political campaigns. Who control the legislation.
God damn it, I suck at this.
And if you want to make real
All right, let me change my loadout. That LMG zooms in way too slow for me.
Oh my god, there's two of them in there.
Dead.
You need to take on Wall Street, you need to take on the drug companies and the insurance companies and the fossil fuel industry. You don't take campaign contributions from them, you take them on and create an economy that works for all.
You want to do that? Do what I proposed over 30 years ago. Federally fund all elections. No private contributions in elections. You want to do that? Join me.
Hey, whoa, Joe Biden just said a good thing. He said he proposed 30 years ago federally funding the election so you can't, like, you get paid, like, you can't look for money, they just pay for you to go to her like you would normally, which is what Europe does.
Yeah.
But, like,
But
that's,
he's the one taking the most money.
Average contribution $51. The idea that this is Bernie's implication
Like
is
he's
somehow
taking
I'm
full
getting
advantage of
funded
the
by
system
millionaires.
that he doesn't,
Well, look, in the
as
last
he's
right, that
election,
he's talking against
before
right
that,
now.
Bernie outspent me 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 1, and I still won. I didn't have the money, and I still won.
It's good that you had an idea 30 years ago. I don't want to join you. Why don't you join me?
man, I am bad.
That's just the truth. And I got two other. Why don't you just I think in
We'll
the
try that
past,
again.
Joe, if I'm not mistaken, you condemned super PACs. Is that correct?
You get rid of the 9 super PACs you have?
I don't have 9 super. I don't have
You
any
have
super
9.
PACs.
Want me to list them?
No, yeah, you go ahead. No, I will. Won't give you a list. Condemned super PACs. In the richest country in the history of the world, half of our people should not be struggling to put food on the table. And the reason
I'm
for
coming.
that is you have a political structure in which big money interests not only dominate the political system, but dominate our economy as well. Somebody makes a decision, we're going to shut down a factory in America, we're going to move to China, we're going to move to Mexico, pay people starvation wages there. This is an issue that has got to be ultimately dealt with. Who has the power in America? Are we content with so few exercising so much power when so many people have given up on the political process?
I propose to significantly change the tax code, and I've been proposing it for a long, long time. Number 1. Number 2, it's not just everybody pays their fair share. For example, I can pay for my whole health care plan by changing the way in which we deal with capital gains. People should pay for capital gains based on their income tax.
Somebody in
And
this
not at
building.
20%. That would raise $800 billion. Pay for my entire medical health care plan, which will cover everyone. The fact of the matter is, everything I call for, I pay for. And I do not believe, and I have not supported these exorbitant tax cuts for the wealthy. I strongly oppose the tax cut that this president has put through of $1.9 trillion. And I said at the time, this was all about trying to eliminate the safety net. Look, the idea that Bernie implies when he says things, speaking of negative ads, Social Security, that PolitiFact says,
Oh no.
Post said is a flat lie.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You're right here with me. You've been the Senate for a few years. Time and time again, talking about the necessity with pride about cutting Social Security, cutting Medicare, cutting veterans programs.
No.
You never said that.
No.
All right. America, go to the website right now. Go to the YouTube right now. Time
Go
after
to the
time,
YouTube right now,
you were
Bernie is
not a
saying,
fan
because
of
Biden, or Bernie just said to Biden,
I was not a fan.
You were not a fan
you've
of
bragged of cutting Social Security, and Biden said no, and Bernie said, you've never said that, and Biden said no.
Look, here's the
You're an
deal.
honest guy.
And then Bernie's like, oh, all right, and he looks at the camera and he says, people, go to the internet, go to the YouTube, look it up.
96% by the Social Security Administration. Why am I
Go to the
viewed as a strong
YouTube.
vote?
Yeah, I love it.
I have laid out how I will
People back here.
Is in fact paid for.
Jake.
Go to JoeBiden.com. Look at my exchange with Paul Ryan on his desire
There's people off to the left too.
and understand how he manipulated
Big
the
changes.
Joe, let me read you the just be straight with the American people. I am saying that
Yeah, found a place to deposit money.
time and time again, talking about the need to cut Social Security, Medicare, and veterans programs. Is that true or is that
No,
not
it's
true?
not true.
That is not true?
That is not true. What is true is, in terms of the negotiations that are taking place, how to deal with the
That's
deficit,
amazing.
everyone
Bernie got him to say it
I
again.
did not support any of those cuts in Social
What?
Security or in veterans.
There's a video of Biden, you know, saying on the floor that bragging about cutting Social Security.
Right, so did he got him to brag about it again?
No, he got him to say that he never said,
Oh.
that he never said it, which is a lie. Oh boy.
But we did not cut it.
Oh.
Oops.
That guy's over this way.
Oh god,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of them over there.
I got you. Hope he doesn't Kobe us with a grenade. That's happened to me a few times.
Maybe that's good reason, maybe it's not. All that I am saying is you were prepared to cut and advocate.
Ooh, I hit someone.
Let's just,
Let me-
I did not. I never voted to cut Social Security.
Not talking about voting, Joe. That's not what I
never
said.
voted. Well, look, I voted to protect it. I was just go look at the debate with Paul Ryan.
I don't see
the Vice
anyone.
presidency. Look at what I did. And Bernie, will you acknowledge your campaign took out of context that whole exchange between Paul Ryan? Are you saying
My
PolitiFact
heart
is
beat
wrong?
out.
Are you saying
Yeah,
the
well,
Washington Post
believe me,
is
the
wrong?
Washington Post, PolitiFact is wrong a whole lot of times. But
Hey, what'd you say?
Okay.
Are they wrong
I'm gonna
about
have my
that?
heart beat out.
Bernie,
Joe,
did you
Okay.
miss
Joe, wait a minute. I'll answer your question. You answer mine.
I answered yours.
No, you didn't.
All right.
One more time. Were you on the floor time and time again, for whatever reason, talking about the need to cut Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid?
No, I did not talk about.
He got him to
need
say it
cut
again. He straight up asked
All
him,
that I would say to the
Were,
American
did you
people,
ever
it's
say
all
on the Senate
press.
floor the need
Joe
to
said
cut
it
Social
many, many times.
Security?
I'm surprised
And Joe
you don't
Biden said,
defend
no,
it
I have never
or
said
change your
that.
mind on it,
And there's a
but you can't
video.
deny the reality.
So, Senator, because you brought up Social Security
Yeah.
and you've
I
been
hope
talking,
that this
about
turns
it, I
out
wanna
good for
ask
Bernie.
you about something
Yeah, me
that
too,
you
but
wrote
what
in
Joe Biden just
1996
fucking
when
lied
you were
and or
the House.
forgot about what
And
he
you wrote
said,
an
so
op-ed that said, quote, "It is
that don't
clear
look
we
good
will
for his
have to
image
make
where everybody already
incremental
thinks he doesn't
adjustments
fucking
in
remember
Social Security
anything."
Taxes and benefits.
Yeah.
Why are your past comments any less relevant than
Adjustments that I advocated,
Where should we go?
adjustments that I advocated
I found a bank
and
you
have
can-
advocated for years.
Banks
is,
always
among
got
other
the
things,
action.
increasing the cost of living.
Yeah, I have a lot of
assistance.
money in
Hey,
the
yeah,
You're
you
not going
do.
to find me ever calling for cuts to Social Security. Right now, for example, we determine COLAs by looking at inflation for the general population rather than segregating the higher costs that seniors are paying for prescription drugs and for health care. That's what I was talking about. I have, in fact, when Joe and others were enamored with the so-called bold citizen effort, which included cuts to Social Security or raising the retirement age, I formed, along with people like Barbara Boxer, the Defending Social Security Caucus to say no. When 20% of our seniors are trying to get by on $13,000 a year or more, we are not going to cut Social Security.
Vice President Biden. Yesterday, you
Yeah, Bernie's
endorsed an
doing a really
Elizabeth
solid
Warren
job, but
plan
so
that
is
will help
Biden.
do key parts of the
I mean,
bankruptcy
Biden's
law
making
helped
decent
pass
points.
in
The
2005.
problem is
You
we all
already
know
You announced support for making
policies
public
aren't
college
there.
tuition-free
he
for
can like he
families
obviously just
who
lied
make
about
less
all of
than
that, so he just knows how to
$125,000
talk
a
to
year.
a crowd of people.
Something Senator
When
Sanders has supported.
maybe who knows,
What?
maybe he just fucking took a nap all day
Number one,
long.
let's talk about the bankruptcy.
So he just woke up, had his
Bankruptcy bill is
coffee, and
passing
he's got about 2 hours of
overwhelmingly,
usefulness
and
before he
I
starts falling
had a
apart. And
choice
they
to
did that
pass
right now.
Republican president, Republican Congress, and I offered 2 amendments.
They're
to
at
make sure
that
that
drop.
People under $50,000 would not be affected.
Yeah, I'm
and
coming
women
up behind
and
you.
children would go to the front of the line on alimony and support them.
There's someone very
That's
close.
what I did. It passed overwhelmingly. I did not like the rest of the bill, but I improved it, number one. Number two, I've talked with Senator Warren about her proposal. This is the first opportunity we've
They're
had to make
close.
substantial change
think they're on the
in what we
roof.
couldn't get done in a Republican
Yeah, you
administration.
hear 'em. They're coming
That's
down.
why we talked 2 nights ago, and I supported her proposal. And it's a good proposal. It's a solid
Oh,
proposal.
they're running away.
And she
They're
should
farther
be
in the
credited
roof.
for having introduced it. With regard
I heard
to what
whatever
we're
that
talking
was.
about in terms of college education, I've been saying for a long time that we're in a position where 12 years of education
close
is
again.
not enough. Is not
Someone
enough
just jumped off
for
the
the
roof.
21st
There's
century.
That was
2
them.
people going
16
down there.
years of education. The exact bill that Senator Sanders introduced, I guess a little over a year ago, capping it off at $125,000 in income. You could get free up to that point. After that, you'd have to pay
When I
for
deposit.
your college education.
Oh,
It
shit, I
only
have to
works
copy
for
another
folks
copy.
who
Yeah.
in your state. I support that idea. It was a good idea, and I support it. And so
Oh, God.
What was
I'm not
that?
saying everything Bernie
Proximity
said
mine.
is wrong. He happens to be right on that.
Fine.
Senator Sanders, I assume you welcome these changes.
Helicopter. Helicopter.
Alright, I want to try to deposit.
Is anyone down there?
I did not.
I don't know.
And that
I'm gonna drop an EMP over in that area though. Deposited!
Me too. Hey, I got it, dude. I got it out of it. They were just sitting there waiting.
It was a very, very bad bill. You said, Joe, that the majority of people in the Senate voted for it.
Overwhelmingly.
Overwhelmingly. Well, I voted against it in the House, and I was right. And I don't have to rethink my position, because that's what leadership is about, having the guts to take an unpopular vote. But it's not just bankruptcy.
I hope my dad
The
is
difference
watching
between
because
Joe and I
Bernie's talking about having the
that
guts to
I
take an
was
unpopular vote, and that's what my dad feels about having to vote for either one of them in the election.
that public college
Yeah,
and university should be tuition-free. People were saying,
It's a shit show either way.
no idea.
Unless
Well,
Bernie
we've got
goes.
states and cities and counties all over the country that
Damn it.
and I'm
I
glad
need
that
to change
Joe
my
is on board,
loadout
but what
settings
leadership is
here.
about
I have
is
sights on.
going
I'm not
forward
good
with
with.
Change my kill
an idea
streaks.
that you can so I'm proud of that fact.
Kills
And I'm proud
up.
of the Joe, since the campaign has come around, I talked about raising the minimum wage $15 an hour 4 years ago, Joe.
So did I, and I went out and
$15 an hour?
$15 an hour, New York City. Go talk to the governor.
I will
went
talk to
up
the
there.
guy. I'm not aware of that.
All right.
I am not aware of that.
Look,
All right, 4 years ago, it was a radical idea. Very few people in Congress were talking about it.
I
Go
want
ahead, Vice President.
Well, here, look. Let's get something straight about the bankruptcy. The bankruptcy bill already it did not affect student debt for 90% because the law had already been passed. You could not declare bankruptcy for those loans that were from private institutions. You couldn't do it. And so the bankruptcy bill didn't affect that. It affected 10% of the people, the first bankruptcy bill. 10% of the student loans, number one. Number two, now we're in a position where we're able to correct that problem. The fact is, if I hadn't stepped up and changed the law as it relates to people making less than $50,000, those for alimony and child support, then guess what? They would have been in the bucket too. It was going to pass anyway. I made it. Let me finish. I made it incrementally better. I did not like the bill. I did not support the bill, and I made it clear to the industry I didn't like the bill. Number two, this bill now calls for the opportunity to fundamentally change mistakes we couldn't correct in the bill the first time around. And that is why I support Elizabeth Warren's idea, and it's a very good idea.
Senator Sanders, go ahead.
This is kind of circular logic.
Biden seems to be fishing for Warren's endorsement because he said her name a bunch.
Well, if I hadn't voted for it, and if
Yeah,
the rally
I don't know if
people
she's
as
willing
I
to
tried
do that. But
Better not be.
the House voting against it, we might not have the problems with it we have today. You know what leadership is about, Joe, and it deals with, you know, whether your opposition or your support, I should say,
Where the fuck should we go?
for legislation
I found a bag.
regarding gay communities in the so-called Defense of Marriage.
Yes,
Act. You remember, right? You remember the Defense of Marriage? It was, you know, gay marriage today is considered a little bit differently than it was 25 years ago. I remember that vote. It was a very hard vote. I voted against the Defense of Marriage Act. You voted for it. I voted against the bankruptcy bill. You voted for it. I voted against the
really hurt. No
which
shields.
was also a tough vote. You voted for it. I voted against disastrous trade agreements like NAFTA and PNTR with China, which cost this country over 4 million good-paying jobs. You voted
I don't know
for
whether
it.
you want.
I voted against the
Me either.
Hyde Amendment,
They
which
always
denies
disappear.
low-income women the right to get an abortion. You have consistently voted for it. I don't know what your position is on it today, but you have consistently voted for it. In other words, all that I'm saying, we can argue about the merits of the bill.
Vice President Biden.
It takes courage sometimes to do the right thing.
We can argue about the past and the future. This man voted against the Brady bill 5 times. Background checks. 5 times. Number one. Number two, this man is only one of the few Democrats I know who voted to exempt the gun industry from being able to be sued. Talk about a special interest. We can sue. We should be able to sue drug companies. We should be able to sue tobacco companies. We cannot sue the gun manufacturers because he voted for that years ago. He says it was a mistake now. I'm prepared to accept he says it's a mistake.
Well,
the question is, what do we do from this point on? And by the way, I might add, I'm the first person to go on national television in any administration and say I supported gay marriage.
I hate how your pings disappear.
I supported gay marriage.
Yeah.
And it started a ripple effect. I'm not taking all credit for it, but I'm the first major player to say I support gay marriage on national television.
All that I'm saying here is
Joe Biden's trying to say he was the first national figure to say he supports gay marriage. It's like, you kidding me?
What?
when we're living
Like
in
the
a
first
really
bit, he's talking about like the first
unsecond world.
important, the first
Economically,
first person
healthcare,
someone knows about. It's like,
respect
what about
for coronavirus.
Obama?
The people
Yeah,
of
well,
America
yeah,
know
what?
my record. Okay?
He's so
For 30
stupid.
years, I have stood with the working families.
He might have
of
been
this
put
country.
part of the
I've taken
administration
on
that
every
was leagued
special
ahead
interest
in
there is
admitting that
out there,
being gay was
and that
alright.
is what I will
But
do
he was
in
not the
the
head of
White
that
House. That's a very different
administration.
record
He
than
was just
yours.
kind of,
That
he
is
was
not
just
a
fucking
different
there.
record than mine.
That is a totally
Yeah.
And
different record than yours.
Chuck told me, he said, I don't remember much about him from the Obama administration, but when I do, it always seemed like Obama was doing cleanup after Joe Biden said anything.
Billionaires.
Yeah.
So, I think if you want
Yeah,
somebody
dude.
who will take to the White House what I've done,
Joe
to
Biden
Obama,
never really did
thank you,
anything.
and
Yeah,
that
no,
is take
not
on
really.
special interest.
And
I
whenever
think
he did, it was
that's
stuff like
that's
grabbing
that's
little girls by the
Let's talk-
shoulders
let's
and
talk
then
about the future
whispering
Vice
fucking
President Biden.
softly
If you
into their
become the
ears
Democratic
and
presidential nominee,
breathing
how
down
will
their
you
necks.
appeal to
Here, let's go
supporters
to the
of
top of
Senator
this.
Sanders when you
I'm going
do
up this side.
disagree on so many issues?
Making it hard for me right now. I was trying to give him credit for some things. He won't even take the credit for things. Look, I think that I want to make it clear. If Bernie's a nominee, I will not only support him, I will campaign for him. And I believe the people who support
Biden just
me
said
will do the
if
same.
Bernie is a nominee,
existential threat to
not
the
only
United
will
States.
endorse him, but I will campaign for him.
It's critical.
What?
The same thing if I'm-
Biden just said that
Concur
if
with all of his
Bernie were the
followers,
nominee,
in fact,
he would
support
not
me as
only
well. Because it's much
endorse him,
bigger
but he
than
would
either of
campaign
us.
for him.
Character of the nation is
Oh.
on the ballot.
Okay.
It goes well beyond whether or
Well, drop out.
there should be a right, not a fifth.
Let Bernie be the
We both agree
nominee.
we have to deal with education and access to education. We both agree
He's
that
hurt.
we deal with having new
There's two, I
agreements
think.
to deal with the existential threat that faces humanity. We disagree on the detail of how we do it, but we disagree with this president
Team wipes.
on everything. This is a man who
Did you
wants
get him?
to cut Social
Yeah, he's
Security,
dead.
Oh,
cut
nice.
Medicare, not Bernie, the president of the United
Gonna call the
States.
someone-
helicopter.
So this
Oh,
is
you're
much
dropping.
bigger than whether or not I'm the nominee or Bernie's the nominee. Most agree with Donald Trump. He is the excellent. 4 more years of Donald Trump will fundamentally change the nature of who we are as a nation. We've got to restore this country's soul. That's essential. And as long as this president is there, we're not going to be able to.
Senator Sanders, if
Can I just say a word then I'll respond?
well, it's just a quick question, which is if he is the nominee, Vice President Biden, you've already said you would support him. But will you campaign for him? Will you urge his support?
Oh yeah.
What I said is this country cannot deal with a president who is a pathological liar, who is running a corrupt administration, who obviously doesn't know
Do you need
the
armor?
Constitution of the United States.
Yeah, I got 2
Law,
plates.
who is a racist, sexist, homophobic. He is the most dangerous president in the United
thanks.
States. And what I said on day one. That obviously I hope we win. But if I don't win the nomination, and I think every other Democratic candidate is prepared to come together to do everything humanly possible
Enemy
to
soldier
defeat
incoming.
Donald Trump.
Where?
But let me respond to
Riot
something
shield.
that Joe said. You know, we talked about the green. General
Riot
Mills,
shield came in
details
handy.
make a difference. What I have
Listen
said
to
throughout
Ruth.
this
Yeah.
campaign, and I don't think I've heard you say this, Joe, is that if we are going to save this planet for our kids and future generations, we need to have the courage to take on the greed and make it clear to them that their short-term profits are not more important than the future of this planet. We have a very deep
I don't see him.
He's
proposal.
downed.
Happy to get
Oh,
the
okay.
endorsement of the Sunrise Movement.
God damn it.
We're going to get
Oh,
into the
shit.
Green New Deal.
I'm running up there to
I
get
got
him.
him.
Quick break.
Nice.
When
Team
we come
wiped.
back, CNN Univision Democratic presidential debate.
They're
will
from
return.
behind
Stay with
us.
Hey, well, that, this fucking riot shield came in handy.
Watch behind you, yeah.
Commercial break in progress.
$1,000 student debt.
$1,000 in debt.
Where's that from?
Really changed my life.
Behind me,
It
I
was the
think.
easiest
Chilling.
application process.
Every time I was SoFi, I was able to cut my interest rate by 40%. Student loans don't have to take over for the rest of your life.
Thank you for allowing me to get my money right.
What ads are fucking playing? It's talking about student loans.
I downed one.
Where are you? Oh. Where the fuck are you?
I'm on the keep going up, yeah, I'm on the stairs.
Oh.
And CNN's Impact Your World can help. Reputable charities that are checked out by CNN. See the difference it makes when you give time, share stories, or donate by just clicking the button. Be a part of the
No,
solution.
stand behind me. Yeah, fuck you.
So many questions.
Look at this shield, bitch. Oh!
Do you really think you're
Who hit me?
Where's that from?
From behind, I guess. Behind left. Oh, like that.
Oh no! I heard him.
Yeah, I heard him too.
People
Owie.
I've talked to, I carry with me. What I do every night, right here. Keeping them honest.
ABC 360, weeknights at 8, only on CNN.
CNN International is open to the world.
Oh! Mighty Mike is getting shot. Where the fuck are we? Puerto Rico.
Go international, anytime, anywhere, from selected devices.
I'm going back to that building.
Ding, ding, ding. Right, let's do it.
Explosive.
You take that side, I'll take this side.
He jumped off the side here.
He landed back on the stairs. Oh shit! Somebody came up my stairs. Well shit.
What just happened?
Burnett, Cooper, Cuomo, Lemon. The best primetime lineup is only on CNN.
The best primetime lineup is only on CNN. No, fuck CNN.
Weeknights starting at 7.
Fuck CNN for not putting it on YouTube and instead just putting it on their site. That's money grubbing booty stank.
That's also making less people being able to watch it.
Exactly.
All month long on the TBS app.
I hear a gunshot, I think, maybe?
He's across on the other building. Hands in the guy on the other.
Describe the sound made when a sheep explodes.
The legends of CNN, the story of late night.
This guy will not die. Ah, come on. I'm down. Oh, they came up the stairs. I'm dead. My butt. Poop on him. Oh yeah. That's the sound of my puckering ass.
No.
Donk. Where are they? On the stairs?
Yeah, on the stairs. The beginning of that song is intense. Once you start singing, it gets a lot less intense.
I'm dead again.
Welcome back to the CNN Univision Democratic presidential debate live from Washington, D.C. And as we noted, Arizona will vote Tuesday. We solicited questions
I love doing that.
from Democratic voters there. One is from Pete Langefeld, who is a law professor
This game is
from
fucking
Chandler,
ridiculous.
Arizona, with a question for Senator Sanders.
Oh,
Women are the canaries in the coal mine of the conservative agenda.
Our access
Oh.
to
No!
is at risk from the Federalist
Aw.
Society's remaking
Stop.
of courts. Our
Where did
lives
it
are
happen?
threatened by abusive partners'
I
access to guns.
wouldn't be able to tell you, to be honest.
Was it in the building?
Disproportionately affected
Yeah, in a
by
doorway.
bail requirements,
Oh.
social security cuts, and cuts to public education. How will your cabinet ensure the best advice on issues that affect women's physical and financial health? Thank you.
My cabinet, my administration will on behalf of the people and their women, and that will be the representation of the cabinet in my administration. In terms of
The
policy,
grenade just fell back down at him.
unlike Joe, I have consistently believed, and have a 100% beliefs like Mayrow, that it is a woman's right to control her own body, not the government. I have believed that we have got to move aggressively to deal with domestic violence in this country. I have aggressively and I think effectively made the case that we cannot have women in America earning 80 cents on the dollar compared to men, and if you're a minority woman, it's 50 or 60 cents on the dollar.
I got a big stanky fucking shield break.
Grow up married, and know that their kids are going to be well taken care of.
Oh God, he's in here.
Very strong agenda in fighting for the rights of women who today are under incredible political attack by Trump and Republican governors.
Come on.
Yes, thank you. Number one, I agree with the question and the underlying question. Number one, I committed that if I'm elected president and have an opportunity to appoint someone to the courts, I'll appoint the first black woman to the courts. It's required that they have representation now. It's long overdue. Secondly, if I'm elected president, my cabinet, my administration will look like the
Got
country.
one kill.
I commit that I will, in fact, I'll pick a woman to be vice president. There are a number of women who are qualified to be president tomorrow.
Joe Biden's gonna pick a woman to be his vice president, I guess.
Number three, I'm the guy that wrote the
Sure, Bernie.
law, and I'm the guy that put in the prohibitions that no one who abuses someone else should be able to own a gun. Period. They should not be able to own a gun. I would get the boyfriend exception amended. Now I've gotten it passed that if you get a stay away order from court, you have a child with someone, you cannot own a gun. No one should be able to own a gun who has abused a woman. Period.
Mr. Vice President, if I could just follow up. Just to be clear, you just committed here tonight that your running mate, if you get the nomination, will be a woman?
Yes.
Let me
Senator
ask,
Sanders, will you
right
make
now,
that?
may I just respond
Please.
and ask Joe a question?
Hoodly doodly doodly doo.
Right now,
Hoodly hoodly
a
doodly
woman's
doo.
right to control her own body is under massive assault, unprecedented assault. It is. Joe, you have in the past, on more than one occasion, voted for the Hyde Amendment, which says that a woman, low-income woman, could not use Medicaid funding for an abortion. Is that still your view, or have you modified it?
It is not my view. It's not my view. And by the way, everybody who has been in the Congress voted for the Hyde Amendment at one point or another because it was locked in other bills. The reason why I affirmatively came out opposed to the Hyde Amendment was that if we're going to have public funding for all health care along the line, there is no way you could allow for there to be a requirement that you have Hyde
Joe
Amendment.
Biden loves to fuck.
Could not have
He would do it every day with your
And
face.
I've done that. I did that a while ago. Okay. Number one, I the United States Congress when I'm elected.
I just shat on somebody.
president.
Oh, they shat on me.
Because I think it is a woman's right to choose. I think it's a woman's opportunity to be able to make that decision. And in fact, I've gotten 100% rating from NARAL.
I'm definitely coming right out on my butthole.
I just want to get you to respond.
Thanks to Call of Duty.
I know my record of late from NARAL has been 100%. I don't know whether it was 25 years ago.
Well, all right. I mean, I think one of the differences.
Bark.
Vice President committed to taking
Hey, it's my twin.
If you get the nomination,
not just nominating
Plunder.
a woman. It is making sure
Let's
that we
plunder
have
the
rest-
motherfucking train station.
My
Bongus.
Let's turn now to Vice President Biden. You recently said for the first time that the Obama-Biden administration made a big mistake in deporting millions of immigrants. But you didn't publicly speak out against it at the time. What commitment will you make tonight that as president you won't deport?
I said that it took too much
Who do a shooty?
Right.
Up! Up!
Up!
Up! What's going on here?
Tried to protect parents as well, and by
Yeah. Big
the
dead.
fact is that we already had a vote on the immigration bill, by the way, and Bernie
Now
voted
I've got a
against
sniper.
the immigration bill. Had he voted for it and it passed, we'd already have 6 million undocumented would be citizens as I speak right now. But I will send to the desk immediately a bill that requires access to citizenship for 11 million
I wanna
undocumented
get up.
folks, number one. Number two, in the first 100 days of my administration, no one will be deported at all. From that point on, the only deportation...
Biden just said that
based
during
on
the first,
convictions
what
of
did he say,
felonies
year
in
of
the
his
United States of
administration,
America.
So to
there
be
will
clear,
not be
only
any
felons get deported
deportations.
and everyone else in the state.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
And the
interesting
reason is it's about
promise.
uniting
We'll see if he
families.
can keep
It's
that.
about making sure that we can
What
vote
about
a nation of
people that need to be
immigrants as
deported?
well as a nation that is decent.
Let me respond. I'll answer your question. Let me respond to Joe's comments about 2007 immigration. That bill was opposed by LULAC, the largest Latino organization in America. The Southern Poverty Law Center called its guest worker programs akin to slavery. There wasn't really a vote on the bill. It was killed because there was a vote on the dog industry.
Show yourself,
It was
loser.
49-48. You know who voted
Come
with the Joe?
on.
Barack
Oh!
Obama. He understood that proposal
I was
was
hit.
a bad idea. We don't need slavery in America where workers, guest workers, are forced to stay with their employers. But in terms of immigration in general, let me outline some of the things that we do.
Who's
Day
hitting
one,
me?
we restored the
Oh.
legal status of 1.8 million
Behind.
people and their parents in the DACA program.
Oh, he
Number
got
two,
me.
immediately, we end these ICE raids, which
Ow,
are terrorizing
ow,
communities
ow,
all over
ow,
the
ow,
country.
ow, ow.
Three, we changed the border policy under my administration. No federal agent will ever grab little babies from the arms of their mothers. And fourth, I think we can pass what the American people want, and that is comprehensive immigration reform, path towards citizenship for the
Hey.
undocumented.
Senator Sanders, critics suggest
Put that right in
positions
my
like this
fucking
message that
wiener
if
hole,
Democrat
please.
is in the White House, the border is open. Do they?
No, that's just, I mean, that's what Trump says, and that is a total lie. What we're talking about is a
Where is that
humane,
big fucking
sensible
loser?
policy supported by the American people. Nobody is talking about open borders, and of course Trump lies about that.
Ow.
The line is, right now, you have this
Who hit me?
God
people
damn
who
it.
have been here for
Where is he?
decades. They
I don't
work
know.
hard.
Left?
They're
Oh, he's
raising their
above.
kids.
Oh, he's
They're
coming down to you.
part of our
To your right.
agricultural economy, our construction economy. These
He's
are good people.
drop
And yet
shotting
they're living in
motherfucker.
terror. And we've got to end that terror. End the ICE
How do you
raid
talk?
and move
I hate you so much.
Well, let me set the record straight. So,
Do you know the mic button in this or no?
I
Barack
don't
Obama
know.
supported that
Oh.
You can look it up
that
though.
immigration bill.
Yeah.
Options.
Teddy Kennedy supported that immigration bill. I support it. I doubt whether those people think it's slavery. Well, and by the way, right after his vote against that, he went on the Lou
graphics,
Dobbs
audio,
show
voice
and
chat,
continued
push
to
to
canard
talk.
that they're taking jobs. These immigrants are
Oh,
taking
you have to set
jobs
the
from
button.
America, which is one of the Republican canards. Right after that,
Oh,
vote, that
3?
no vote.
Maybe? 3?
And so, come on. This is, you think Ted Kennedy is for slavery? You think I
Well,
was for
Find
slavery? You
the-
think when you were voted forward for slavery?
the
Just with regard to
wiener
the
button.
issue, your question relative to look, we can deal with securing the border by national technical means. All the bad things are coming through ports of entry right now. We don't need a wall. And by the way, I would immediately, as president, surge to the border. I would end this promotion for the first time in history that people seeking asylum have to cross the side of the river in desperate situations. They should be able
What?
to come to the United States and have a judgment made as whether or not they qualify. I would also surge to the border immigration judges to make decisions immediately, and no one would be put in jail while waiting for their hearing.
Senator Sanders?
That's kind of what I've been saying throughout the entire campaign.
So
What we need is at the border hundreds of administrative judges.
Cuba stank.
We need to deal with
Cuba
people
stank.
who are seeking asylum based on international law. We need not to be dividing children.
Hell,
from
my
their
mama,
parents and
I didn't
dividing
want to
families
bleed
up.
out at
We need a
all.
humane border policy. And I'll tell you what else we need, and I speak as the son of an immigrant. My father at the age of 17, had a nickel in his pocket, couldn't speak English, didn't have much of an education. I will end on day one the demonization, the ugly demonization from the White House of the immigrant community in this country. We've got a president who is trying to divide us up. Our people, black and white and Latino, Native American.
Thank you, Senator Sanders. Vice
How's
President
Bernie
Biden,
doing?
you opposed
Good.
Sanctuary Cities as a presidential candidate in 2007. Where do you stand now? Should undocumented immigrants arrested by local police be turned over to immigration officials?
No.
I mean, he's got Biden lying that 3 times, or just being wrong
Senator
that 3 times.
Of course.
Look,
and
he just
one
asked
of
him a
the
question,
things
expecting a, like
that
kind of
goes
an
on
explained answer from him, and he was like,
have
"No."
that process
He just stood there and stared at him.
is that not only the
It's like, all right,
psychological
Bernie.
trauma, and I talk to these kids. Kids are scared to death in America.
Here
They come
we
home
go.
from school
Oh,
with
here
their
we go.
mom
I'm
or dad
gonna
and I'll be
fucking
there
go and
maybe,
shoot them up.
deported.
Shoot them up.
What we need to do
What the fuck
is
are you
to
doing?
end, and I will end this on day one, the ICE raids that have been so harmful to so many people. And we
Ooh,
need
Bernie's
to
bringing up
do,
ICE.
again, what the American
Oh,
people
baby.
want us to do. I'm the son of an immigrant. This is a country significantly built by immigrant people, built by slave labor. And what we have got to do is appreciate each other and end this demonization and divisiveness coming from the Trump administration.
Senator, go ahead.
Look, we are a nation of immigrants. 24 out of every 100 children
Oh,
in
God.
school today, from kindergarten
They're
to
on
high
the
school,
roof.
is a Latino. Right now, today, the idea that any American thinks it doesn't pay for us to significantly
Shibboleth.
invest in their future is absolutely a bizarre notion, because if we do not invest, everything that the very wealthy are concerned about and the xenophobes are concerned about will in fact get worse, not better. We should be embracing, bringing them in, just like what happened with the Irish immigrants after the famine, just what happened in Italians, etc. We've been through this before. Xenophobia is a disease.
Thank you, Vice President Biden. Let's move now to the climate crisis. I'm coming right to you, Senator Sanders. The World Health Organization calls the climate crisis a, quote, health crisis, and warns that climate change could fuel the spread of infectious diseases. Can you point to specific measures for the climate plan that address?
I mean, we look, this is
God damn it. I am bad.
what they're telling us is
I need Kool-Aid.
there will be irreversible damage done to the planet. We're talking about cities in America, from Miami to New Orleans to Charleston, South Carolina, being underwater. We are talking about severe drought, prevent farmers in the Midwest from going to food. That we can talk about extreme weather disturbances, which hit Houston, Texas, Venice, Italy, just a few months ago. We are talking about the absolute need, and I want to hear Joe's position.
Oh no, I got shot out of the air as I was sitting down. That's a bunch of Cuba stank.
Why do I never reload?
As quickly as
Because
we
you're a
humanly
cootie.
can away from fossil fuels. We continue to have
You
fracking
goddamn commie.
in America. We give tens of billions of dollars a year in tax breaks and subsidies to the fossil fuel industry. This has got to end, and end now, if we love our kids and future generations.
First thing,
You have AIDS. Oh, you have AIDS.
Yes,
State
you have
Department, excuse
AIDS.
me, the Defense Department for
And I'm
the
happy
golden
because
child.
you are
The
gay.
single greatest threat to our
Hooray!
national security is
I'm
climate
coming
change.
too.
single greatest threat to
Coming with
national
you. Falling out of the sky.
Because as populations have to move because they can no longer live where they are,
Hello.
because their islands are sinking, because you saw what happened in Darfur with the change in weather patterns in the desert there. It causes war. It causes great migrations. Great migrations. They said that's the single biggest problem.
Smudge is
Number two,
mesmerized by
there's an
both
awful lot
water
of people
and
today
fire.
who are in fact getting ill because
Kicker.
of the changes in
She
the
will throw
environment,
herself into
particularly up
whatever
where
water
Bernie
she can
lives.
find
I'm
and just
not
stare at
doing
whatever
him,
fire she
but
can find.
up in the Northeast, because you have everything from beetle infestation and a whole range of things that are causing diseases as well, in addition to
Oh no,
eliminating
enemy.
cold.
So, Vice President Biden, let me ask you then. The price, you talk about this
900
being the
meters
number one
away.
crisis.
Yes.
They told you at the Pentagon. The price tag for your climate plan is about $1.7 trillion. That's about $14 trillion less than Senator Sanders wants to spend on this. Is your plan ambitious enough to tackle this crisis?
Yes, it is ambitious enough to tackle the
He's
crisis.
dead.
Because when you go to JoeBiden.com, I lay out
Meh.
the first 13 things I
Rejected.
would do immediately upon
Alright,
being
we are
elected.
going.
Number one,
Let's get that.
reinstate all the cuts that
Whoa,
Yeah,
did you go that?
how far
Yeah.
automobiles can go.
Let's get my
investing in
$17,000
light rail
deposited.
so that we take cars off the road, making sure we're in a position where we are now.
This is
in
a
position
cash
that
drop.
we
Oh, it
put
just got picked up.
500,000
Damn it.
charging stations in
Let's
areas
go
that,
get 'em.
in fact,
It's my
all
money.
new highways that we
Alright.
built,
Yeet.
making sure that we spend $500
going
million
down. I don't remember
a
where
year
it was at.
in the federal government paying for transportation of vehicles we run. All of those being converted to
He's dead.
be able to run
Nope.
on low carbon fuel.
Oh God.
Be able to run on
Get the money and run.
that is all
Ow!
carbon free. We can
I
do
was
this.
shot in
We
the
can lay
wiener.
down the tracks where nothing can be changed by the next president or following president, the one beyond that. In addition to that, we also have to, I would immediately rejoin the Paris nations, over 100 nations, but the 100 major polluters
PPs.
to the United States in the first
Slap
100
in your
days
face.
to up the ante and make
PPs.
clear that in fact,
Hip, hip, hooray,
didn't
you
should be a
know.
price to pay. And lastly, I would be right now organizing the hemisphere and the world to provide $20 billion for the Amazon, for Brazil no longer to burn the Amazon so they could have forests, no longer forests, but they could have farming, and say, this is what we're going to do. They absorb more carbon in the Amazon and the region that's burning now than we emit in one entire year per year.
President Senator Sanders.
All well.
Oh.
I mean, you mentioned we started this debate talking about the warlike situation in terms of the coronavirus. And we said we have to act accordingly. You said it. I think you're right. I said it. We have to act dramatically, boldly, if we're going to save lives in this country
Shebang.
around the world.
Shebang.
I look at climate change in exactly the same way. It's not a question of re-entering the Paris Accord. That's fine. Yes, not a big deal. The deal right now is, do we have the courage? And this gets back to the point we're trying to make all night long. Do we take on the healthcare industry and tell them their profits are not more important than healthcare for all? Do we take on the fossil fuel industry? Look, in terms of the fossil fuel industry, these guys have been lying. They've been lying for years, like the tobacco industry lied 50 years ago. Oh, we don't know if fossil fuels,
I'm coming.
if oil and carbon emissions are causing climate
Damn it.
I think they should be held criminally
I
accountable.
am
But
AIDS.
this,
Oh,
Jake,
I am
is
AIDS.
an issue of enormous consequence. What Joe was saying goes nowhere near enough. It's not a question of money. Give me a minute here. We have time to talk about this. This is.
Whoa!
I
was
just wanna give
exploded.
him a
They have
chance
an
to respond, and then we
RPG.
can come back.
Let's stay on.
We're staying on this.
Number one, no more subsidies for fossil fuels, no more drilling on federal land, no more drilling, including
Why?
continue to drill, period.
I spent so much
Number
time
two,
watching
we're
behind
in a
me, and
situation
then
as
the
well where
minute
we
I see someone
cannot-
outside, he comes
we
out.
are able to move rapidly to change the dynamic in terms of what we can do to set in motion. The fact that he says
This game is
climate
here to
change,
do nothing
Paris
but
Accord
bully
doesn't
me.
matter. We could get
Yeah.
everything exactly right. There's 15% of the problem. 85% of the problem is over there.
We need someone who can deal internationally. We need someone who can bring the world together again. We need someone who can move in a direction that, in fact, if you violate the commitment you make, you will pay an economic price for it, like what's happening in China. They're exporting coal, significant coal.
Obviously, the Paris Accord is useful, but it doesn't go anywhere. If you laugh at Joe, then you're missing the
I don't
point.
have an RPG.
This is an
that's big gay.
existential crisis.
Bingo.
You talk about, I'm talking about stopping fracking.
This dude just walked up and didn't see me, so I just quick came back out of my menu and shot him in the face.
Destroying this planet. No ifs, buts, and maybes about it. I'm talking about speaking to China. Well, I'm not sure your proposal does that.
When all else fails, an RPG is always great.
Yeah, I just haven't unlocked yet. I wish I did.
Making the point that
You can find them on the ground too.
Yeah, I know.
Weapons of destruction
I just love
designed to
using
kill
them. I
each
wish I
other,
could spawn
maybe
with it.
we
Oh
should pool
no.
our resources and fight our common enemy, which is climate change.
Someone just
I know
jumped
your
over me
heart
and they didn't
is
see
in the
me.
right place, but this requires dramatic, bold action. We've got to take on the fossil fuel
Sucks
industry.
to that guy.
Your plan does not do that.
My plan is the world. Just that's what he's saying. What's he going to do? He's going to bring these countries together.
Snipe a guy out of the air with a
I'm
rocket.
saying we bring them together, make them live
Alright,
up to
I
the
missed
commitments.
wildly.
If they don't live up to the commitments, they pay
There's a guy
a
dropping
financial
on you.
price for it.
Oh no.
They pay an
I
economic
gotta
price
confirm
for it.
his
My state is free.
I punched him, but it didn't kill him. Did he have a self-revive, maybe?
I watched the whole Delmarva Peninsula, just like it is in South Carolina. Something I know a little bit about. I wrote the first climate change bill that was in the Congress, which PolitiFact said was a game changer. I'm the guy who came along and said with Dick Lugar that we're going to trade, we'll forgive your debt if you don't cut down your forest. I've been way ahead of this curve. This idea that all of a sudden Bernie found this out is amazing to me.
Senator Sanders?
Now, Bernie didn't find it out. Bernie is listening to the scientists. And what, you're talking about making countries around the world fulfill their commitments. Those commitments are not enough. What this moment is about, Joe, is that the scientists are telling us they underestimated the severity of the crisis. They were wrong. The problem is more severe. So all that I'm saying right here is that we are fighting for the future of this planet, for the well-being of our kids and future generations. You cannot continue, as I understand Joe believes, to continue fracking. Correct me if I am wrong. What we need to do right now is bring the world together, tell the fossil fuel industry that we are going to move aggressively to wind, solar, sustainable energies, and energy efficiency.
Hello.
No new
I
fracking.
hear a
By the way,
shooty.
on the recovery, I was able to make sure solar and wind that is lower than the price of coal. That's why not another new coal plant will be built. I did that while you were watching.
Take it. 50
Number
bullets
one.
is better than
Number
no
two,
bullets.
We're in a situation where we
Down to him.
lay down the tracks where no one can change the dynamic. And that's why
I just ran in there, killed that guy, and ran out.
RPG, where is he?
Oh, team wipes, got him.
Automobiles off the road.
You got him?
Making sure
Yep.
that we move in a direction where no more drilling on federal land.
Right.
Making sure that we invest in.
That was awesome. When I ran out of ammo, I just quick swapped to my. Oh, I'm down.
Senator Sanders, I want to talk to you about
I quick swap to my riot shield, and it's just good.
which is a method of extracting natural gas. This shift
Stinky.
towards natural gas and away from
Is he still
coal
over there? I got my
has resulted
record.
in reduced U.S. carbon
Seems like it.
emissions.
Yep,
So
it
how
does.
can the U.S. transition to your targeted
Where?
goal of zero emissions
Don't know.
with fracking completely out of the picture?
Because we have to
Tell me when you
invest
see him.
in an
Oh, he
unprecedented
exploded.
way. In an unprecedented way. You started off by saying that we're talking about a $13, $14 trillion investment. That is a lot of money. And I've been criticized for that. But I don't know what the
Need to watch
alternative is
behind
if we are
us.
playing for the future of this planet. So we got to be dramatic. And what being dramatic is massive investments in wind, in solar, in sustainable energies in general, and research and development, in making our buildings all over this country, my state of Vermont.
I see the scope.
Around this country got a lot of old buildings.
Where is he?
We can
Let me
put
be looking at you.
millions of people to work, making our buildings energy efficient.
They both have no
Our
shields.
transportation system
Alright.
to electricity. So
Downed one. The other one's looking at me. Oh, he's distracted, getting his teammate.
And I will fight to implement.
Thank you so much, Senator Sanders. We're going to be back with more from the CNN Univision Democratic presidential debate. Stay with us.
There you go.
You see the devastation.
Oh, my hole is enlarged. So large, it's swallowing up reality.
Charities that are checked out by
Oh.
CNN. See the difference it makes.
My Kool-Aid
Give
squirted
time,
everywhere.
Share stories or donate by just clicking the button. Be a part of the solution.
It's really crazy how the media makes Bernie look like he can't fucking win it at all, but we've got 4,000 delegates total to get, and we've only handed out 1,900 of them. Bernie is only behind by 150 at most. And that's if we don't count the amount of shit that went on in Texas, because there's a good chance he won if they could figure out that that voting bullshit that happened. But.
Right here, holding the powerful accountable, keeping them honest.
It's like Florida when Jeb, or not Jeb. Well, I mean Jeb was governor, but.
Dude, you can't shoot that down. Oh wait, yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can.
That's an attack helicopter.
Yeah, I think you can shoot any helicopter now with an RPG.
Except for the cash helicopter, you can't shoot down the bank one. I've wasted a lot of ammo trying to do that.
Anytime, anywhere, from selected devices. Stream it live now.
I really like how well they did the bullet trails in this game.
Yeah.
I need to turn up my graphics. They're kind of poopy. I'm shitting right on my ass.
Dude, I almost hit $200,000.
Describe the sound
Where's the
when a
bank?
ship explodes.
Oh shit!
I'm down.
Down one. Fucking scope in my eyes.
Lemon, the best primetime lineup is only on CNN.
We need to know who's telling us the truth in power.
Weeknights starting at 7. All month long on the TBS app. Stop and watch a movie. Like a all month long on the TBS app.
Close. I got my riot shield.
There's someone outside that.
Enemy personal radar in the air. Describe the sound made when a sheep explodes.
Describe the sound made when a sheep explodes.
Okay, there's one to the right and one to the left.
Ooh, I got
North, the
mine.
east. One to the east. They're looking for us.
Oh, they got hit by my claymore. I killed him. Joe Biden makes my foreskin crawl. God damn it, dude. I'm not paying for this goddamn game, but I really would just want to play deathmatch.
Yeah, this is close enough to deathmatch, so.
Yeah, it's not bad. I just hate that there's sometimes where you can't fucking find anybody, and then, you know, you have to spend so much time in between fighting, shooting people.
Yeah.
That's a big poopy. Give me my experience.
Already.
Welcome back to the CNN Univision Democratic presidential debate on Tuesday. Voters in Arizona, Ohio, Illinois, and Florida will cast their votes in the Democratic primary. Here's Univision's Ilia Calderon.
Thank you, Jake. Let's move now to foreign policy. Senator Sanders. There are about 1.5 million Cuban Americans living in Florida right now. Why would they vote for you when they hear you praise a program of Fidel Castro, a dictator who jailed, tortured, and killed thousands of Cubans?
I have opposed authoritarianism, whether it's in Cuba, whether it's in Saudi Arabia, whether it's in China, or whether it is in Russia. That is my life record. I believe, unlike the President of the United States, in democracy, not authoritarianism in Cuba or any place else. What I believe right now in this world is that we are faced with a global crisis and a movement toward authoritarianism. That's what Putin in Russia is leading. That's what MBS in Saudi Arabia is leading. And as President of the United States, unlike Donald Trump, I will put the flag down and say that in this country and in this world, we have got to move toward democracy and human rights. That is my view and has always been my view.
To be clear, Senator Sanders, Cuba has been a dictatorship for decades. Shouldn't we judge dictators by the violation of human rights and not by any of their alleged achievements?
Well, I think you can make the same point about China. China is undoubtedly an authoritarian society. Okay? But would anybody deny, any economists deny, that extreme poverty in China today is much less than what it was 40 or 50 years ago? That's a fact. So I think we condemn authoritarianism, whether it's in China, Russia, Cuba, any place else. But to simply say that nothing ever done by any of those administrations had a positive impact on their people would, I think, be incorrect.
Vice President Biden, you have criticized Senator Sanders for praising Castro's education system. But in 2016, President Obama said Cuba made, quote, a great progress in educating young people, and that its healthcare system is a huge achievement that they should be congratulated for. How is that different from what Senator Sanders has said?
He was trying to change Cuban policy so the Cuban people would get out from under the thumb of Castro and his brother. That is to change the policy so that we could impact on Cuba's policy by getting them opened up. That was about. But the praising of the Sandinistas, the praising of Cuba, the praising just now of China. China is an authoritarian dictatorship. That's what it is. We have to deal with them because they're there. But the idea that they, in fact, have increased the wealth of people in that country, it's been marginal, the change that's taken place. It is still, they have 1 million Uyghurs, 1 million Muslims in prison camps in the West. You see what's happening in Hong Kong today. And by the way, the idea that he praised the Soviet Union when it was the Soviet Union about the things that they had done well. They're an awful dictatorship killing millions and millions of people. And in addition to that, we have a circumstance where after the election was all over and we knew what was done by the Russians now in interfering with our elections, this man voted against sanctioning Russia for interference in our elections. I don't get it.
Well, what you don't get, and this is exactly what the problem with politics is about. All right, question. Did China make progress in ending extreme poverty over the last 50 years? Yes or no?
That's like saying Jack the Ripper.
No, it's not.
Yes,
See,
it
Joe,
is.
this is the problem.
Yes, it is.
This is the problem. We can't talk. I know there's a political line. I understand. China's terrible, awful, nothing ever good. Russia, no. But the fact of the matter is, China, of course, is an authoritarian society. That's what I just said.
It's a dictatorship.
That's what I just said 5 minutes ago, you know? And by the way, you know, the question that was asked quoted Barack Obama. President Obama was more generous in his praise of what Cuba did in healthcare and education than I was. I was talking about a program 60 years ago in the first year of the Castro revolution. So the bottom line is that I think it's a little bit absurd if we're going to look at the world the way it is. Of course,
Penis.
And by the way, you know, before
every time I leave my chair, Smudge immediately takes it back.
She sounds like a bitch.
The dictatorship in Saudi Arabia, when a lot of other people in Washington, I was condemning the dictatorship in the UAE. You were not.
Thank you, Senator Sanders. Vice President Biden.
Look, the idea of occasionally saying something nice about a country.
I don't know, because I haven't played Halo 1 yet.
The
I'm
idea
going to play some
of
Halo
praising
1.
a country that is violating human rights around the world
I
is
have
in
not
fact
downloaded that
makes our allies wonder what's going on. What do you think the South Koreans think when he praises China like that? What do you think the Australians believe in the shadow of China? What do you think is happening in Indonesia in the shadow of China? What do you think is happening in terms of Japan in the shadow of China? Words matter.
Joe Biden is trying to say that because Bernie has said that China has done good with their literacy program and that Cuba has done that as well, that, you know, like he believes in those countries, and like it's questionable that he would say things like that because it empowers those regimes. Hearing that from a presidential candidate, it's like, you fucking kidding me? Come on, Joe.
And a point of what he's saying can be
from that
fucking
mistake,
Joe.
and how might those lessons influence
He's saying that
your
we
foreign
suck.
policy decision making as president?
Joe,
I learned I can't
you're a
take the
cunt.
word of a president when in fact they assured me that they would not use force. Remember the context. The context was the United Nations Security Council was going to vote to insist that we allow inspectors in to determine whether or not
Anime.
they were
Oh
in fact
my
producing nuclear weapons or
god.
weapons of mass destruction. They were not. And what's the first thing that happened when we got elected? President Obama turned to me and said, get those troops out of there. I was responsible for getting 150,000 combat troops out of Iraq. I admitted 14 years ago was a mistake to have trusted him. And I'm prepared to compare my foreign policy credentials up against my friend here on any day of the week and every day.
Well, let's start off with the war in Iraq, Joe. I was there too. I was in the House. I understood. And by the way, let's be clear about what that vote was. You were there at the signing
I'm
ceremony.
gonna play against bots.
Everybody in the world knew
Yes.
that when you voted for that resolution, you were giving Bush the authority to go to war. And everybody knew that's exactly what he and Cheney
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
wanted to do.
Just have it
Most people
fucking
who
sitting in the
followed that
corner,
issue
and it's
closely understood that the Bush administration
it's
was
good that
lying
there's only two of them now.
with regard to Saddam having weapons of mass destruction. I understood that. I was on the floor of the House time and
That
time
means
again.
abortion
But
bills.
the issue is not just
I'm ready
the
for
war in
abortion.
Iraq. That was a long time ago. The issue is the training. That was so We're going to have the courage to take on powerful special interests and do what's right for the working families in this country.
Use your TAC map and choose when to deploy from the aircraft.
I'll tell you why. You know why? Because that had everything to talk about Iran. That was tied to Iran. Russia was in Iran. I think John Kerry indicated his support for what I did. That was undermining
Plan ahead,
the Iranian
find
government.
weapons,
That's not
kill
true.
yourself.
That's the only reason. I condemn Russia time
Doodly
and
doodly
time
doodly
again.
doodly 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 doodly. I'm ready to fucking run up a train on your ass. Don't you forget that I am gonna fuck you.
My chief of staff was the guy, my foreign policy guy, doing that negotiation. I was the
Give me
guy
weapons, give me weapons. Oh yeah, give me weapons. Oh.
I've dealt with these
Suck
people.
on
I
that
know them.
wiener, big
And I know what
dongus.
they're like, and I know who the good guys are and who the bad guys are.
I love playing against bots. Makes me feel good about
Bernie's
myself.
notion about how he embraces folks like the Sandinistas and Cuba and the former Soviet
I
Union,
already hate
and
Joe
he talks
Biden
about the
talk,
good things they did in China.
Yeah,
is
he's talked a
absolutely
lot.
contrary to every message we want to send the rest of
Senator Sanders.
But you see what I mean? How he's like, he's got a lot going on in his brain, which is just kind of not normal for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like he,
including
maybe on an upper or
America's
something.
so-called allies in the UAE and in Saudi Arabia, and in fact, as you may know, worked with conservative Republicans to utilize for the very first time the War Powers Act
Where are the
to get
bots?
the United States
I
out
wanna
of the
touch their
horrific
butts.
war in Yemen, led by Saudi Arabia. That's what they did.
420.
So my view
420.
is that in
Some
a world
Monday.
Secure the perimeter. Alright, I'll secure the perimeter.
Thank you, Senator.
For guidance.
Thank you, gentlemen. I want to change topics and ask each of you about some of your vulnerabilities
the day
in
after.
this election, starting with you, Vice President Biden. Senator Sanders has won more of the Hispanic
Hello?
vote than you in several key states so far. In fact, he doubled your support in California among Hispanics. He almost tripled it in Nevada. So why is your message not resonating with Hispanic voters?
Look, my message is resonating across the board. Every single state we've been in has been a significant turnout. In Virginia, turnout was up 70%. He didn't bring them out. I brought them out. And number two, look what's happened in Mississippi. Look what's happening in North Carolina. Look what's happening in Washington State. Look what's happening across the board. Why is it that I'm winning all
Put
these?
a shotgun in your ass.
What's the reason? The reason is because they know I'm a Democrat with the capital G.
Got him. Oh, Jesus Christ, please. Oh, no, Jesus Christ.
High school educated, African Americans and minorities, including Hispanics, but all suburban women, people who in fact
take a
have
725.
place in
Why
the
did I
world.
have to work
That's
in a
why I'm
manufacturing
winning, not just
job?
winning, but overwhelmingly
Yeah.
winning. Not even close in these places.
They were just wash your hands. Go wash your hands.
The news that you're having for the second consecutive presidential election. You're struggling to gain
Bloodthirsty.
wide support from
I hope
African
we
Americans.
can
Why
track
is your
I gotta be right. Your dick. Oh.
I think it's
I will shoot you in your cock.
bi-generational.
Let's go to Greenland. I don't think Greenland has any cases.
Now, we have won some states. Joe has won more states.
Does Greenland have any cases?
Does
Greenland have any cases of corona?
I don't know.
Good majority of the folks that believe in Medicare. That's true in almost every state in this country. And the other issue we don't talk about
Coronavirus
is
current
we are
status.
winning the
It does
generational
not
vote.
have any case.
Depending on the state, there's many people.
We're going to Greenland.
And yet, I frankly have my doubts. Look, if I lose this thing, Joe wins, Joe, I will be there for you. But I have my doubts about how you win a general election against Trump. Will be a very, very tough opponent unless you have energy, excitement, the largest voter turnout in history. And to do that, you are going to have to bring young people who are not great voters. They don't vote in the kinds of numbers into the political process. You're going to have to bring Latinos who are great people who have the agenda that we need, but also don't vote in the numbers that we need. I have my doubts that Vice President Biden's campaign can generate that energy and excitement and that voter turnout.
I will do that. And by the way, just get this straight. The energy and excitement that's taken place so far has been, for me, 70% turnout increase in Virginia. I could go down the list. They're coming out for me, and I didn't even have the money to compete with this man in those states. I virtually had no money. The press kept saying Biden has no money, and they were right. Biden had no money. And the idea, the reason they're doing that is because they understand I know what has to happen, and I know what needs to be done. And by the way, the idea that everybody supports Medicare for all is yet to know exactly what's going to happen. So here's my point. People don't know the detail at all.
So there's a large demographic of people who voted for Joe Biden that also polled saying that they wanted Medicare for all and they thought Biden was the best way to do it. I'm happy that this debate is going on right now because he's saying no, Medicare for all is not what I'm advocating for. I'm an idiot.
At CNN, we see the
That's
devastation
that's actually
caused by
gonna
natural
put the polls where they
disasters,
should be.
famine, and heat. We also
Oh
see
no, I'm
how
in the
generosity of
gas.
others can change lives. You, as an impact your world, can help. Reputable charities that are checked out by CNN. See the difference it makes. when
I
you give
watched
time,
him die,
share
the
stories,
life
and
leave his
support
eyes,
donors
and I
by just
shat
clicking the
on
button.
his grave.
Be a part of the solution.
And then I left all
Impact your
night, and then I thought it was alright if I fucking killed his wife.
Doing? Do you get the anger that is out here? They've closed off this entire street. Do you
Oh,
really
yeah.
think you're a champion? Sir, with all due respect, that's the argument of a 5-year-old. I didn't start it.
All the places I've been and all the things I've seen, the people I've talked to.
Yeah, that's right. Die, you bitch. I'll shoot you in the cock.
But
I'm Bill Weir from CNN. How many people are in these kind of...
Final circle. Where is that slut?
I've never seen anything like this. It's a full-blown disaster.
To adapt is to survive.
My heart breaks for you.
We must get it right. It's life.
Where is this
CNN
bitch?
International is
Okay,
open
we
to the
have
world.
a couple test positives.
Huh?
We test.